We had an unusual occurrence at the Ames residence the other Thursday morning. You know that dreadful raucous cry of the magpie? It was like that. I assumed it must be a very young one because it sounded like a magpie that hadn't quite got the tune or had a bad sore throat, but it was really loud and I could hear it 2 floors up. "Young magpie out there," I said to Michael. "Yes, I know, I can hear it. I think they could hear it 4 doors away." Went downstairs and after breakfast I said, "I think it's trapped in your wood store." So we went out and listened, and of course when we're out there close to the wood store, the poor creature's shut up, wouldn't it? And he's walking round, trying to walk quietly and saying, "Come on, Dicky bird, speak again so as I know where you are and I can move some of the wood." He said, "I think a cat has frightened it. It can't fly very well. It's fluttered into the wood store, has dropped down, can't find its way out." Lunchtime he came home. "Is that poor creature still there?" I said, "Yes, it blooming is, and it's been squawking all morning. I'll go and have a look." So we both went and had a look. No sign. No sound either, and we're walking round on tiptoe saying, "Shh, listen for a rustle in the undergrowth." Nothing. He said, "I feel really sorry for it because if it's trapped it's going to die, and I mean, although there are a lot of magpies around, you don't want a poor creature dying on your backyard." Came in at tea time. I said, "That thing's still there." So we went out and he started moving big chunks of timber. I must have moved about 600 weight, no sign of this thing. And he said, "Well, the noise was coming from this end of the wood store." And the cry came again, and I said, it was just like pantomime. "It's behind you," and it was. We had been part of a parrot's cage, and it was 2 by 2 mesh, and if you want that in Imperial you've had it, I don't speak foreign. And there, stuck in the mesh, was a little hedgehog with its head and its left front paw straight through the wire, and it was the crossest hedgehog I have ever seen. Well, what had been happening about 3 weeks previously, I'd seen a hedgehog in the garden, and I rang Sue in Gloucester, who knows about hedgehogs, and said, "I have seen what is obviously a young hedgehog. Was it thin?" "Well, we're not on those close terms, but it wasn't a fat one. Won't live through the winter. You must start feeding it with cat food." So every night I have placed a saucer of cat food just inside the barn, and it's very difficult peering at the remains of cat food, working out what ate it. But it seemed to be rather dirty, the saucer was, and I assume bristles pick up dust, so it must have been a hedgehog. Michael said, "You have fed this poor little thing, and on its nightly walk it's been nipping through this wire mesh for some time, but because it got fatter it got stuck. So you couldn't sort of get hold of its little snout and push it back, and we couldn't shove it forward, so he got the wire cutters, cut through the mesh, and we dropped the hedgehog into a bucket." It's difficult to examine a hedgehog. They have no spirit of cooperation. So I'm back on the phone. Sue in Gloucester. "Sue, this has happened. What do I do?" Your best bet is to ring the RSPCA or a vet." So I rang the RSPCA, and the local one said between the hours of 9 and 5:30 we are here, and this was 6:30, or I could ring the main line, and they said I was in a queue and they would answer me shortly. So I hung up and rang the local vet. "How big is it?" I said, "Hang on, I will measure it," and I did, and it was 6.5 inches nose to tail. "This is one of this year's youngsters. Is it fat?" I said, "Not very. It's a personal question, isn't it?" She said, "Could you bring it in and we will check it out and take it to the animal hospital?" Apparently they put them on folded tea towels with little sunray lamps over the top. Oh, that's rather nice. "And they will fatten it up." And I said, "Well, the thing is, its left arm isn't moving, but it might be that it had gone to sleep with being trapped." So Mrs. or Mr. Tiggywinkle went to the hospital last Friday, and the last I heard was sitting up and probably taking the lightly boiled egg and listening to radio too.
Oh.